I invite the member for Nanaimo Lanswell to lead the House in prayer or reflection.
Let us take a moment to pause. In the midst of debate, decision, and duty, I return to the quiet words of the wisdom within Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. We are gathered here not as rivals, but as stewards of trust, of time, of the fragile hope placed in us by the people who place their hope in us. They may never sit in this chamber, but their stories echo in our choices, their needs, their struggles, and their aspirations. They are the quiet weight behind every motion and every vote. So we are called to lead not with certainty, but with courage, not with pride in our own understanding, but to trust in something deeper. Trust that when we let go of the need to be right, we might begin to do what is right. That when we acknowledge a power greater than our own, we may find the clarity we need to walk straighter paths. May the path we walk today be shaped not by pride, but by purpose, and may it lead us always towards the common good. Amen.
Introduction by members. Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Normally one has opportunity to introduce folks from their own riding, but today I get the opportunity to introduce some very special people from my hometown, and thank you to my colleagues for allowing me this honour. I'd like to welcome the members of Nanaimo's professional and business club called Probus, and two very special guests, my mother, Rhonda Bailey, who's the past president, and also a dear family friend, Alan Winks, who's the current tour chair. Probus is a non-profit fellowship organization founded in 1998, and it's grown into a vibrant community of 262 members. Probus is dedicated to supporting active social lifestyles for retirees while fostering meaningful connections in the community, and I can speak firsthand that, in fact, that's exactly what it does. Would the House please join me in welcoming Probus to the Legislature? I hope you enjoy your tour.
Minister of Energy.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. It's EV Drive and Ride Day with the BC New Car Dealers Association today on the front lawn. I invite everyone during the lunch hour as they get some relief from the important debates we're having in the legislature to join the New Car Dealers Association of BC on the front lawn, Honourable Speaker. And I want to express a warm welcome to the directors of the New Car Dealers Association of BC today. Of course, Blair Quayle, the President and CEO of the New Car Dealers Association, still trying to convince me about a new car. Anne-Marie Clark, the Chair of Steve Marshall Ford Family Ford, Kai Ensler of Jack Carter North Star Kootenay, Jared Williams of the Wysick Group in Vancouver, Dave Baer of Harris Kia, Daryl Griffiths of Signature Mazda Richmond, Luke McLennan of Wheaton Buick GMC Limited Mercedes-Benz in Kamloops, April Gaskell of GM Financial. The New Car Dealers played a critical role in promoting and supporting electric vehicles in BC through thanks to their partnership with the government. Nearly 200,000 electric vehicles are now on BC roads today. Please join me in congratulating the New Car Dealers Association for their continued leadership. Let's make them all feel welcome in the House.
Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. It's a great day here in the Legislature. I'm so excited to welcome some inspiring Canadian artists. Artists who you may have seen. I hope you did. I know you know them, Honourable Speaker. But for those who haven't known them yet, surely you got a chance to see them at the Junos performing this past March. We're joined today by G Minor, Jazzy B, Chani Nutton, and Inderpal Moga, and their incredible teams. They're here today. We're celebrating their incredible successes. Joining us here on the government side of the House, you're going to know them, you should know them, taking folk music, Bhangra, turning it into something that is sweeping the globe. It's a Punjabi wave. and it's a Canadian wave taking over the globe with this incredible music. So if you've been to a great wedding, a great birthday party, an incredible retirement, if you haven't, you should, where this music is played. I've tried my best to turn in the light bulbs and to do my moves, but I've got some work that I've got to do. They will quickly school you and teach you a lot. So please welcome our house, incredible Canadian artists.
Member for Abbotsford West.
Thank you. Lots of important news this week. King Charles III visited Prince Charles Elementary in Abbotsford yesterday, and today King Charles III will open up the 45th Parliament in Ottawa. But more important than that, Mr. Speaker, today is my wife's birthday. And a wise man once told me a smart husband never forgets his wife's birthday, but always forgets which one it is. So I would like the House to please help me wish my wife a happy 39th birthday.
Minister of Housing.
Thank you so much, Honourable Speaker. I want to join my friend, the Minister of Tourism, to welcome these amazing individuals. I don't want to pick on one or two of them, but I'm going to pick on one or two of them. One is Jazzy B. For all of us within the South Asian community that grew up celebrating our music and culture, we in this building talk a lot about people who broke through the glass ceiling, people who paved a pathway for many of us to be able to do what we do and succeed in our society, overcoming huge obstacles and barriers. Jazzy B is that person. I've never had the honor of meeting Jazzy B, but I hope to meet him today. But he has broken the glass ceiling and given opportunities to many artists, whether he knows it or not, and I want to recognize him. And the other one I want to recognize is Chandi Nathan. Yes, he's a famous musician now, but I know him from a time when he was a young man wanting to do a good thing in his community. He was organizing toy drives with his friends to ensure that kids around the holiday season had toys. So not only is he an amazing artist, but he's an amazing human being, and him and Inderbal and G Minor, they're doing amazing things to give young people hope in our communities and show them that there's multiple paths to be success. And so on behalf of my colleagues, I just want to raise my hands to them and hope everyone can please welcome them today.
Member for Langley Abbotsford.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I have the engine that makes me tick here today. My family, my wife Courtney, my daughter Adriana, and my son Bal, who happens to be a huge fan of you, Honourable Speaker. And I want to thank you for having him in. He got a picture, sent it to my mom. She's really happy. And he actually probably likes the fact that you get to yell at me. So thank you very much for the hospitality, and please make him feel very welcome.
Member for Surrey Newton.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. So I have two introductions today. The first, I'm so lucky to be joined in the gallery today by my father-in-law, Darshan, and my mother-in-law, Jackie. And today they're brought my niece, Ava Grace, who is joining us in the House for the first time. Her sister was here a few months earlier, but today she'll be getting to tour the Parliament legislature and get to eat lunch with us later. So looking forward to that. I'd also like to jump on the bandwagon a bit and welcome the team that's here today that was mentioned already, but also mention that 5X team. So Jazzy B, Chandi Nathan, G Minor, Inderbal Moga also are involved with the 5X team, and I spoke about them yesterday, and they're an amazing organization that's really bringing Punjabi music to the forefront. So I want to welcome the Executive Director, Harpo Mander, into the House as well, and also give a shout out to Chandi Nathan and Jazzy B again, who are constituents of mine, or Jazzy B at least was, and maybe has moved now, but just want to welcome them into the House, and I look forward to seeing them later and really sharing the power of Punjabi music and Bhangra music with the world on an international stage. So please join us.
Member for Abbotsford South.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I just have to say to the Minister of Housing, I actually have met Jazzy B. Jazzy B's an Abbotsford homeboy. Long before he was in Surrey, he was from Abbotsford, then he went to London, And I have had the distinct pleasure of not only meeting him, but performing on stage with him when I was the mayor. He is as gracious and as humble as you can imagine. In spite of all his fame, he is the real deal, and it is an honor to have him from Abbotsford. And I look forward to getting on stage and singing with you once again, Jazzy B. So thank you very much.
Member for Surrey City Centre.
Mr. Speaker, I'm so pleased to welcome two very special guests from Together We Can Recovery Society. In the gallery today, we've got Stephen Hall, who's the Public Relations Manager, and Amar Randawa, who is a caseworker and also an Alumni Engagement Coordinator. Stephen and Amar are the unsung heroes when it comes to helping people with their recovery journey. And the amount of effort that they put in with their wealth of knowledge and their boundless compassion is making waves across our community. So I want to thank them so much for the work that they do, and I hope that the House will join me in making them feel very welcome.
Member for Chilliwack North.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is my pleasure to welcome Mount Sheehan School High School students to the House today. We have Carolyn Van Sane, Joanne DeRover, these are their escorts and teacher, Jordan Guliker, Marcus Niels, Owen Panicoke, and Stefan Niels. Please make them welcome.
Member for Vancouver-Langara.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to welcome Vancouver School Board Trustee and Board Chair Victoria Jung, as well as Bobby McDonald, Manager of Community Engagement and Government Relations at Union Gospel Mission in Vancouver. I deeply appreciate the meaningful work they're doing. And I just noticed that my good friend, Mr. Amritpal Singh Tot and Amit Sipani are sitting in the gallery. I welcome them to the House. And I am not going to sit down without welcoming my favorite Punjabi artist, Jazzy B. He has put Punjabi music on the charts, literally. And thank you so much. I request everybody to make all my guests welcome, feel welcome here today. Thank you.
Member for Richmond Queensborough.
Just a couple of introductions. I'd like to welcome the artists up there. I come from a singing family myself, and Jazzy B did sing part of my dad's song about 30 years ago. I really appreciated that. And so I want to just welcome Jazzy B and also Sabi Kuner, Inderpal Moga Chenni Nutton, who I know from the community, Harpo Mander, also a few friends up there, Ike Sekon, Nav Chahal, Papinder Hundal, who I went to SFU with. And I think that's about it. Thank you.
Minister of Education.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. I have a couple of amazing guests. Actually, we all have a couple of amazing guests here. The Chair of the Vancouver School Board, Victoria Young, accompanied by Bobby McDonald, Manager of Community Engagement and Government Relations out of the Vancouver School Board. I get the opportunity to spend a lunch hour with them today. But really, I also wanted to share my heartfelt thanks to the Vancouver School Board and their entire team for the work they've done this month in what has been an incredibly challenging month for the school community. So thank you so much to the board, and will the House please make them feel very welcome.
Member for Langley Walnut Grove.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand today to make a little boast about a school in my riding. This past week, I attended their local PAC AGM, where I learned some exciting information. James Kennedy Elementary has participated in the Heart and Stroke Jump Rope for Heart campaign since 2012. In that time, they have raised a total of $144,000, but this year they topped it all, raising a whopping $19,000, making them the highest fundraising school in all of Canada, not just BC, in all of Canada. What an accomplishment. Will the House help congratulate James Kennedy Elementary?
Member for Wandifuka Malahat.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today it's my pleasure to welcome a very good friend of mine and former Executive Director of the Sauk Fine Arts Society, Terry Moore, and her partner, Steve Short. Terry follows in the footsteps of her parents, Vern and Martha Moore, who were incredible volunteers in Sauk, and Terry has followed in their footsteps and created the Sauk Fine Art Show. Actually, she didn't create it, but she turned it into what it is today with her amazing volunteer corps that she led. And today, or this year, the Fine Art Show will be celebrating its 39th anniversary it's the longest running juried art show on Vancouver Island, and I would encourage everyone to look it up and come and see it. There's something there for everyone. So welcome, Terry and Steve.
Member for Surrey Serpentine River.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It was not my intention to stand, but when I see Jazzy B in the gallery with all the wonderful musicians, I am reminded of the time when he moved to Surrey. And he often performed in Surrey, and I had the great pleasure of his company over dinner with the then Councillor Tom Gill and myself. So welcome one more time in the gallery to all of the wonderful musicians here today.
Minister of Forests.
Thanks very much, Mr. Speaker. It's clear that we're all starstruck here today by the incredible talent that's here. I'm not going to talk about the times where I had Jazzy B on my iPod, and the pride of Victoria, G minor, is in the house as well. But I got three sets of introductions. We've got some forestry students from UBC. I met them at the Truck Loggers Convention a few months back, and they've been great individuals providing me advice and guidance as I've taken on this role. We've got Haley Schmidt, Shajoy Huang, and Rosalie Joffrey. I'm looking forward to meeting with them later today. From Langford Highlands, I've got Captain Shafir Rahman, a volunteer extraordinaire during the campaign. I don't know if Shafiq has made it into the house yet, but there he is. Always good to see you, my friend. Looking forward to seeing you later today. And I've also got the Ministry of Forests communications team in the house here as well, led by veteran referee for the Western Lacrosse Association. I didn't know that till this Friday when I was at the Shamrocks game. Andy Watson, who's the communications director. We've got Rachel Monroe, Aaron Hughes, Tyler Fleming, Flamor Ruda, and Stephen Binder. The House, please join me in making them all feel very welcome.
Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Late breaking from my ministry, we have 6 of our incredible public servants, Jacqueline Midget, Cindy Shang, Daniel Hitchin, Cassie Remick, Jessica Beswick, and Chelsea Wood here in the House. They appreciate when I'm brief, so I'll be brief and say, welcome to your house.
Richmond, Queensborough.
I forgot 2 or 3 names, so we're just going to shout out to Verdun Sekon, Nav Jahal, and Amarpal Dot. So please welcome them. Thank you.
Minister of Housing.
No, Honourable Speaker, lots of introductions today, but I did want to especially recognize another individuals. We were talking about people who broke the glass ceiling, people who've paved the way. We've got Bhupinder Handal here, who's the news director from Global News. Those of us that have had interactions with him know him from when he was at CBC. He also did a lot of work with Omni News on the Omni News Punjabi on the Omni News Punjabi show and led that work. But other things that you might not know is he also is a Queen's Diamond Jubilee winner. He also was instrumental in the Punjabi Hockey Night in Canada that we see on TV that fills us with lots of pride. And I understand he's here today to make sure that Richard Justman and Keith Baldry actually work when they're in this building. And for my friends in the building will know, today he was carrying 2 cameras running down the hall. That's how much he was working today because he knew his news director was in the house. So please join me in welcoming Bhupinder Handal to the house today.
Member for Surrey North.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, all Surrey here, all Turban guys here, and especially thank you, Mr. Todt, and Nav Chal, and Jaji Bipaji, and our big singer, because I listen his song during my college time. Keda Jampya Surma, Jira Jat di Chartanu Roke, and especially thank you Chani Natapa ji, and thank you to everybody. I think thank you all, sorry. Thank you.
Member for Burnaby South Metrotown.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'll be really quick. I just want to say that we have delegates from Indo-Pacific Foundation of Canada that's joining us today, led by Baksar D. So if I can get the whole House to give them a warm welcome, please. Thank you.
Anybody else who wants to welcome Jazzy B? Jazzy B, we all love you. Thank you for coming and your team. Richmond Bridgeport.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I hope that Bhupinder Handal remember me. I remember I recruited you as a young researcher after you graduated from BCIT, right? He joined me when I was the news director of Channel M, the first ever multicultural TV news program in BC, started the Punjabi news, Cantonese news, and Mandarin news. And he was a young researcher. I'm so glad to see you rise all the way up to the top. Welcome here.
Madam Clerk.
Introduction of bills. Statements by members.
Member for Kamloops Centre.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Some people sing their 2-minute statements. I will not be singing a Jazzy B song here today.
We can ask Jazzy B to sing for you.
Mr. Speaker, as I reflect on this latest session we've had and the record number of new MLAs here, it made me think back to the privilege it is for all 93 of us to be in this place. And what really brought us here, be it years of advocacy before we got here and talking in our communities and with people so that people felt that they knew who we were and what they were sending on behalf of themselves to represent their part of the province, be it advocates for the business community, be it strong-held views in the union movements, strong-held views in social justice, strong-held views on the environment, or strong-held views and allyship with First Nations around our province. We've all been sent here, and before we were here, we were probably like everyone else in this province. We would sit around in groups like the other 5+ million people, talk about events of the day, talk about how things could be done differently or better, or what I would do if I was there, what actions I would take, what I would stand for if I was ever in the legislature and a legislator. So we talk about privilege a lot in this place, and it is a privilege for us to serve. And the big privilege that we all actually have is that unlike those coffee groups out there that discuss these issues or send us here based on those issues, or like I say, around business, unions, social justice, environment, or First Nations issue, our true privilege is that we get to actually take our words and turn them into a tangible vote in this place based on those backgrounds that we all come from. So as we reflect on that as legislators, Mr. Speaker, I think it's appropriate, given the record number of new people here, that we never lose sight of what actually sent us here in the first place and the expectations of people that we are representing from our home communities. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Coquitlam-Millardville.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I rise today to recognize that May is Sexual Assault Prevention Month in Canada. I will pause for a moment if anyone who is listening would like to step away. Speaking of this topic can feel dark and heavy and serious. Along with the incident, survivors can carry guilt, shame, ongoing trauma, and pain. And right now, it can seem like the whole world is reinforcing that dark cloud. If you are a survivor who is listening, you did nothing wrong. You did not cause this by what you were wearing, by how you laughed, by where you walked, by how many drinks you had, or by being who you are. It is not your fault, and you are not alone. Every day, Many people are there to help break down the silence and stigma around sexual assault and light the path to safety and healing. Every survivor's journey looks different, and the act of reaching out for support is a step forward. If the grief is sharp-edged still, it may seem impossible to carry. Reach out, and people will be there. We thank the dedicated community organizations, advocacy groups, sexual assault centers, victim services, and transition houses who are there to support you with expertise and compassion. You can call or text Victim Link BC's 24-hour crisis and information line at 1-800-563-0808 to connect with those vital services in your community in over 150 languages. The sun will shine again. There is laughter and love because you are here, and that is worth all of the joy in the world. And we will celebrate your existence and fight for your safety. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Member for Langley Willowbrook.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I rise today with a full heart after attending the annual general meeting and volunteer and supporter appreciation night hosted by Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Langley. It was truly a moving evening, one filled with stories of kindness, resilience, and the incredible power of human connection. I had the privilege of hearing directly from the mentors, Big Brothers and Big Sisters, who pour their hearts into this work. These are everyday heroes who show up week after week for young people who need someone in their corner. They offer more than just time. They offer belief, encouragement, and the kind of steady support they can change a young person's life forever. This year alone, their program have reached over 400 children and youth in my community of Langley Willowbrook, creating more than 300 new mentoring relationships. Behind each number is a child who feels seen, valued, and uplifted. From after-school hangouts to shared laughter at a concert or a soccer game, these moments may seem small, but they are a building block of hope, confidence, and a brighter future. It was incredibly heartwarming to see the genuine joy and love in the room that evening. To the staff who work tirelessly behind the scenes, to the mentors who give so selflessly, and to the supporters who make it all possible, thank you. Your compassion is helping our young people see their own strength and potential. Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Langley is not just building matches, they're building a community where every child has a chance to thrive. And that is something truly worth celebrating. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Member for Surrey City Centre.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Earlier this month, a group of 6 remarkable students from ICRA School, which is in my riding, represented Canada on the international stage at the first LEGO League World Challenge, a robotics tournament held in Corinthos, Greece. The ICRA robotics team includes Bayan Ramadan, Faiha Raza, Mariam Khan, Shedli Hasib, Tahsin Ahmed, and Zubair Rehan. These students joined others from over 50 countries in a global competition of science, technology, and imagination. Out of more than 175,000 teams worldwide, ICRA Robotics was the only Canadian team to make it to the world stage, and they did so in their first year of competition. They placed in the top 8 in the Alliances Cup, standing shoulder to shoulder with the brightest young minds from across the globe. What is their innovation, you ask? It's a robot inspired by NASA's Mars rover, transformed into an underwater submersible, equipped with Raspberry Pi and AI-powered cameras to discover and identify marine life. At an age where most are still learning the basics, these students are pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Among them was Shedli, a grade 4 student, the youngest competitor in the entire World's League. Imagine that, a child from our community standing on a global stage showing the world what Canadian youth can do. Behind them stood a team of dedicated coaches, Ramsey, Aya, Zainab, Shamir, Zina, and Sana, and a school and a community who believed in them every step of the way. Mr. Speaker, this is more than just a robotic success. It is a story of vision, teamwork, and the boundless potential of our youth. The ICRA robotics team is a symbol of what our next generation is capable of when we encourage and fully support their dreams. Thank you.
Member for Surrey Serpentine River.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Tucked away in a quiet residential area of West Cloverdale, part of my Surrey Serpentine River riding, is the Boothroyd Heritage House, built in 1873 and restored in 2007. The house is now home to a cozy coffee shop. It also serves as my meeting place for constituents as I await the legislature's process of finalizing office space for a new riding. Boothroyd is the oldest building in the Surrey Centre area, the city's first true town centre, and is a valuable link for Surrey's first development. When pioneer settler George Boothroyd built his family home here, the Boothroyds were the second family to settle in this area of Surrey. In fact, Boothroyd's home predates road construction in Surrey, and the house is valued as a reminder of building methods for construction early in the community's development. The original portion of the house is built of logs, and finishing lumber for the house was milled in nearby communities and floated along the Fraser River and the Nicomeko Rivers before then being hauled to the building site. The house today remains a testament to the difficulty of construction in this once remote area and the absolute determination of its early settlers. The history of the house is one of a kind, and it lends itself to the one-of-a-kind coffee house that is now a favorite among the locals. Come by and enjoy the marriage, or the perfect marriage, of yesterday and today.
Member for Burnaby South Metrotown.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I rise today to recognize the extraordinary work of the Indo-Pacific Foundation of Canada, led by founder and CEO of Bhaskar D, and to celebrate the spirit of multiculturalism blossoming right here in BC. On April 12, 2025, the Foundation hosted Harmony of Cultures, a groundbreaking gathering that welcomed more than 1,000 neighbors from the Chinese, South Asia, Korea, and Filipino communities. Month of grassroots planning turned 4 cultural pavilions into living classrooms. We saw Chinese line dancers, Filipino performers, Punjabi Bhangra, and heartbeat of Korean drummers sharing a single stage. Youth and elders cooked, volunteered, and celebrated side by side. So this was far more than a festival. It was a cultural diversity in action, proof that when we move beyond coexistence to co-creation, we strengthen the very fabric of our province. Building on that success, the Foundation is now preparing for the Parade of Nations at Swangar Stadium on June 27, 2026. 10 Indo-Pacific countries, China, India, Korea, Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, and Japan, will fill our stadium with floats, traditional bands, and street dance showcases. Burnaby's own diversity makes it perfect home for this flagship celebration, one that can grow year after year and position BC as a global leader in cultural harmony. I invite all British Columbians to mark June 27th next year on their calendars to join us at Swangar Stadium for a celebration where every culture is seen, heard, and celebrated. So let us commit to supporting the movement so that the harmony we witness in April becomes the soundtrack of our province's future. Thank you.
Madam Clerk.
Oral questions by members.
Leader of the Official Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, private sector investment is down, youth unemployment is up, corporate tax revenue is down. Will this government admit that their economic agenda has been a total failure?
Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. It's without question that we have been through economic challenges, and this has been the case globally. That is all the reason it's so important that we continue to be deeply focused on economic growth, Honourable Speaker, and that is the focus of this government. You've seen us identify projects that we can accelerate and pull through. This is a time when it's about building our province stronger, facing the threats that we're seeing globally, and I welcome the opposition to join us in this important work.
Leader of the Official Opposition, supplemental.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Look, business confidence is down. Food bank usage is up. Hope for the future in BC is down, with close to half of the youth wanting to leave British Columbia. And quite frankly, after 8 years of dismal failure, the Premier's response is to trust us. But even First Nation leaders see through the Premier and are calling him, and I quote, a snake oil salesman, end quote.
Member, we should not be using words even used by the other party inside the House because it's still unparliamentary language.
I'll take your direction. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Given, quite frankly, this dismal record, and it's the 8 years that has built up the challenges that we face today, why would anybody trust this Premier with additional powers from this legislature?
Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, our province has been through tough times without question, and we, every step of the way, have stood up for British Columbians. We stood up for British Columbians through the pandemic and took care of them better than any other province, Honourable Speaker. We stood up for British Columbians on the aftermath of that, when we saw inflation, when we saw supply chain challenges, all of that. We continued to stand up for British Columbians.
Members.
And, Honourable Speaker, we know the other side would take different choices. We will continue to fight for British Columbians. This moment in time, our Premier is showing incredible leadership and showing us how British Columbia can become the absolute economic engine for Canada. That is the leadership. That is the leadership that we are seeing from our Prime Minister, our Premier right now to the Prime Minister, our Premier right now to the tables he sits at. We are opening doors for businesses. We are opening doors for investments all the time while we're standing up for British Columbians, and we will continue to lead.
Members, you will remember our parents always taught us not to disrupt others when somebody else is speaking. Member for Kelowna Mission.
Mr. Speaker, leadership, choices, opening doors. Prime Minister Carney and his new Liberal government have said that Canada's economic strength is underpinned by Canadian energy, and that Canada has tremendous opportunity to be the world's leading energy superpower in both clean and conventional energy. But the Premier seems to have a different position on oil pipelines, depending on who he's talking to. At the Western Premiers Conference, he agreed that, quote, Western Premiers are committed to developing economic corridors to facilitate the free flow of trade, including access to tidewater. But right after the meeting, he was quoted as saying, no, we're opposed to pipelines. So which is it? Does the Premier support pipelines to tidewater or not?
Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. And in their questions today, the opposition is asking questions about economic growth and economic development in BC.
Members, let's not be too cheeky about this. It's a serious question. Members, it's a serious question. Let's hear the minister's answer. Minister.
Well, thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, in February, the Premier identified 18 priority projects for BC. The opposition is against at least 11 of them, Honourable Speaker. In British Columbia, we've been promoting focused on issues of community support, of community benefits, of worker benefits, of climate change, and of First Nations benefits. LNG projects, Honourable Speaker. Now, the member was a Liberal activist, I think, for a decade before he converted, Honourable Speaker, and he'll know how successful his party was in campaigning on LNG, Honourable Speaker. They're very successful in campaigning on LNG. They didn't deliver any LNG projects, a big zero, Honourable Speaker. Our approach, Honourable Speaker, is different. We have focused on the interests of British Columbia and delivered so far, under construction, 3 LNG projects worth a capex of $42 billion. And Honourable Speaker, we are currently working with the province of Alberta together to focus on our joint priorities of an intertie between BC and Alberta.
Minister.
Honourable Speaker, the member talks about projects that don't yet exist, Honourable Speaker, and we will take action on projects that don't exist, Honourable Speaker, when they exist.
Member has supplemental.
I'm glad that the minister brought up projects that exist. I also would note that he completely evaded the question, how can British Columbians expect to get a straight answer or any leadership from this government when the NDP caucus is so clearly divided and at war with their own base? The Premier and the Energy Minister have said they fully support dredging Burrard Inlet for oil tankers. That's a real project. But when I asked the Minister of Jobs, Economic Development and Innovation whether she supported it in estimates, she would not say if she agrees. At least 6 NDP cabinet ministers built their political careers on opposing pipelines. Will any of those MLAs now stand up and confirm their support for dredging Burrard Inlet for oil tankers, or will they all hide behind cabinet solidarity and hope the media doesn't ask them? Will the Attorney General stand up? Will the Minister of Infrastructure stand up? Will the Minister of Indigenous Relations and Reconciliation stand up? Will the Minister of Emergency Management and Climate Readiness stand up? Will the Minister of State for Local Government and Rural Communities stand up? Or will the Minister of Energy stand up again and give another non-answer?
Minister of Energy.
The position of the government is clear on this matter. And we had a debate and estimate. Honourable Speaker, you know, I appreciate, and we'll move on to the question of divided caucuses in a moment, Honourable Speaker. But clearly and straightforwardly, the Premier and I have said on this federal proposal to dredge Burrard Inlet that we built this pipeline. We built it for, as the member will note, $34 billion, Honourable Speaker. This country built it. That the revenues from the pipeline pay for about 50% of the cost of the pipeline, 50%, which is unlike any other pipeline in the world. So it's truly our pipeline, paid for in large measure by taxpayers everywhere in the country. It's our position, Honourable Speaker, that it's built and that it should be used fully. And that's why we have been supported, consistent with federal environmental law and fisheries and oceans regulation and everything else. We've been supportive of the project because we think people should get full value for it. But Honourable Speaker, you know, I used to be sitting in this house just down the way. Last week, the opposition called for a general election. We know why they want a general election, my Speaker. It's the worst kept secret. It's the worst kept secret in Victoria, Honourable Speaker, that Conservative caucus meetings are like scenes out of Rollerball, Honourable Speaker. And
Thank you.
So We understand, Honourable Speaker, why they want a general election, Honourable Speaker, because it gives them an opportunity not to be together for 28 days, Honourable Speaker. All I can say is that you all just get along.
Leader of the third party.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Nice to be on topic for a change. Our discussions about securing new energy sources for the energy transition have included a focus on free market competition and a level playing field. But for decades, BC taxpayers have been subsidizing the oil and gas industry in BC. In 2022, the province announced a transition to a new oil and gas royalty system with the goal of collecting 50% of profits after production costs. We know the new royalty transition period has been extended by another 2 years. My question is to the Minister of Energy and Climate Solutions. Following this delay in the new framework, can the Minister confirm if the intention is still to secure 50% of profits from oil and gas producers so that British Columbians are assured to receive a fair share of profits from these publicly owned energy resources?
Minister of Energy.
Well, it's consistently the position of the government to maximize the return to the people of British Columbia, as it's the position of other provinces. It's one of the reasons why we're working closely with the province of Alberta on joint initiatives to ensure that we act together in this country on energy initiatives to the maximum degree possible to maximize the return. That's not the only step. We are proceeding with our royalty changes, Honourable Speaker, and working closely with the community, with the First Nations people, and with industry. We're proceeding, Honourable Speaker, with our advancement of the HEALER program. We're proceeding, Honourable Speaker, to maximize the return to communities, and we're proceeding to address issues of climate change. And I am proud, and I want to acknowledge the role of the oil and gas industry in the reduction of methane emissions, which makes our LNG the lowest emission LNG in the world. We do it because we are electrifying LNG projects such as Cedar in Kitimat, and we are also, Honourable Speaker, taking actions to reduce emissions, a 42% reduction since 2015, and we're going for 75% by 2030.
Member supplemental.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. When it comes to the future of our energy security, we can't miss this opportunity to empower individuals and communities to take part in the calls for power and gain energy independence. Net metering programs allow individuals to generate their own renewable electricity and sell it back to the grid in exchange for credits. But BC Hydro is currently proposing changes to this program that drastically undervalue small-scale renewable energy and locks in inequity for decades to come. Proposed changes from BC Hydro for fixed-rate billing instead of net metering would remove any benefit to individuals and communities, ultimately weakening BC's energy security. The question again to the Minister of Energy, can the Minister ensure that net metering remains viable in this province, and will he provide the necessary long-term policy protection that small-scale energy projects need to survive?
Minister.
I think this is an extraordinary period of opportunity in renewable energy in BC, both for First Nations, and the member will know that in the recent call for power, we have 10 projects, 9 of which are 51% owned by First Nations, and 1 of which is 49% owned. That means returns from energy projects that help the climate and energize BC that return to communities. Equally, the member is criticizing BC Hydro programs that have been established in recent years that give opportunities to homeowners to participate as well. We see a full energy program as doing all of these things, as having opportunity to fuel BC's economy. And that's why we're proposing, for example, a second call for power. That's why we're proposing a call for expression of interest on firm power. That's why we're proposing a call for expression of interest on issues of conservation, which focus on affordability for people in the community, Honourable Speaker. We believe in clean energy in this House. We believe in clean energy in this province. We see it as fueling the economy in BC in communities with programs that support homeowners and fuel communities with projects that create jobs and build our province. I'm very proud of our record, and we're going to continue to do that.
Member for Langley Abbotsford.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. First, it was the dump truck operators who weren't getting paid on the Highway 1 project. Now, Mainland Sand and Gravel, one of the largest aggregate suppliers in the Lower Mainland, is owed $1.74 million on a ministry job. This isn't a minor delay. This is a ministry job that's behind on payments to a key supplier in BC's construction sector. If companies like Mainland start refusing to supply materials for ministry projects because they can't trust they'll get paid, what happens to our infrastructure timelines then? My question to the minister, how does this government expect to deliver major infrastructure projects on time, on budget, when even its most critical suppliers are left waiting for millions of dollars?
Minister of Transportation.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and I appreciate the question from the member. I want to assure the member of two things. One, suppliers do get paid. They always get paid. The province pays its bills. Second, in terms of building infrastructure projects, the record of this government is unparalleled when it comes to investing in our communities right across the province. Oh my God, he says not a single project. $5.9 billion SkyTrain project, Surrey to Langley, Honourable Speaker. 16 kilometres of track, Honourable Speaker, 8 stations. It's going to make it easier to get from Langley City to Surrey Centre in 22 minutes, to Vancouver in under an hour, Honourable Speaker. That's investment, Honourable Speaker.
Member for Langley Abbotsford. Members. Minister.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Later this year, a brand new 4-lane Patella Bridge, almost twice the size of the existing one, Honourable Speaker. That's going to make it easier. It's going to make it easier for vehicle traffic between Surrey and New Westminster, spurring economic growth, Honourable Speaker. And I can tell you, we are going to make investments like that right across this province, building communities, building the economy, training the next generation of provinces, because we have faith in this community, Honourable Speaker. They vote against these things every single time, and guess what? That's why we're here and they're over there.
Member for Peace River South.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and thank you to my honoured colleagues, which I genuinely and honestly appreciate spending time with. My question is with respect to economic diversification. Exports from British Columbia to Asian markets are down significantly, which coincides with the closure of our 13 freestanding Asian trade offices. This government's dismal economic record requires the Premier to go on a damage control junket to Asia this week. Does the Premier really think that a junket makes up for the damage done by closing these independent trade offices?
Minister of Jobs and Economic Development.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and thank you, Member Opposite, for the opportunity to once again correct the misinformation about our trade offices. It is inaccurate. We have kept and opened even new trade offices in Mexico, Taiwan, Vietnam, and in fact has seen exports up in multiple markets. We have over 50 trade and invest officers in over 14 different markets that are working every day to increase our trade opportunities for BC businesses, and in fact have trade and invest officers bringing investors to Web Summit this week in Vancouver. We continue to see really important opportunities for BC businesses in markets around the world. The reason we're going on the Asia mission is because opportunities with Japan and Malaysia and Korea are up, and those businesses are really interested in attending that trade mission and joining us to increase our trade with Japan, which is one of our largest trade partners.
Thank you. Member for Prince George, North Caribou.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. British Columbia forest companies have been investing in the last 8 years. The only problem is that they've been investing most of that money into the United States markets. This government has done nothing to attract and retain significant forestry investment in British Columbia. Now, we can understand the need to protect the film industry, But however, forest workers want to know why their industry did not get similar or the same support in this year's budget. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minister of Forests.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much, Mr. Speaker. What an opportunity to be able to stand in the House and talk about our forest sector here in British Columbia that has grown our economy, grown British Columbia for the last 100 years, and will be for the next 100 years. And to be able to share with the members opposite last week, where we had some really good news. Gorman Brothers investing $120 million to purchase the operation, the Weyerhaeuser operation in Princeton. I don't know about you, but that delivers good news for forest sector workers in Princeton and the Okanagan. Now, Mr. Speaker, I have been dying to get a question in this House on forestry because it provides me an opportunity to respond directly to the Leader of the Opposition. I sent him a letter last month asking him to clarify comments made by his MLA from North Island. His MLA referred to First Nations buying tenure as being greedy, absolutely reprehensible. I sent him a letter. He can duck, he can dodge, but will the MLA from North Island have the courage to stand up in this House and ask me a question on forestry after she, in her own community, referred to her own nations as being greedy for buying tenure and supporting the forest service?
Member for Prince George Mackenzie.
When this government took office in 2017, the youth unemployment rate was 7%. Today, after 8 years of economic mismanagement, it's doubled, 14%. That's 60,000 people looking for work and finding nothing. They're losing hope and they're packing their bags to Alberta. How long will this Premier ignore an entire generation struggling to find opportunity? And when will he deliver a real economic plan for young people in this province?
Minister of Jobs and Economic Development.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And first, I want to say, I know how hard it is for youth to get that first job, that first opportunity, and we do have programs for youth wanting to access the job market, but it's also important to recognize youth unemployment is up everywhere. And BC has been leading the country around in employment. We bucked the trend in the last jobs announcements for the past few months, including in manufacturing, which was down across the country, but still up in BC. It's because our government's been at the table with our Youth in Manufacturing Jobs program, with our Manufacturing Jobs Fund, leveraging investment 7-to-1 in our Manufacturing Jobs Fund to bring investment and jobs here to BC. We've been bucking some of the transnational jobs. We have still continued to be below the national average in unemployment, but there's a lot more to do, Honourable Speaker, for us to continue to be at the table to see those jobs and investment dollars here in BC so that we can keep our employment, our young people working.
Member for Columbia River Revelstoke.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Joffrey Lakes isn't just a provincial park. It's a major tourism draw that supports small businesses and communities like Pemberton and Whistler. According to the BC Parks website, it is supposed to be open, and I quote, year-round. This is most certainly not the case. This government is allowing a public park to be closed to the public for nearly 1/3 of the year. Can this government communicate to businesses and the public today how long Joffrey Lakes Park will be closed moving forward?
Member for Environment? Member for Environment.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and thank you to the member for this question. I think it's really important that we have very clear direction and answers, particularly when it comes to our BC parks. So many people absolutely love getting out into BC parks, and we are working hard to make sure that we have the best experience available for those people that are hiking and walking and taking part. We are working hand in hand on conservation and reconciliation. We are working with Joffrey Lakes BC Park staff. There's one trail in, Mr. Speaker, and one trail out. And when the park was established, we needed to make sure that we had visitor safety as one of the biggest things There's a very narrow road that goes to Joffrey Lake, and previously we saw up to 2,000 visitors a day parking on the side of the highway and not making it a safety risk for others. So we're working directly with BC Parks, we're working directly with our First Nations partners and ensuring that it's the best experience. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Chilliwack North.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Des Sumang runs Alpine Refrigeration in Chilliwack, surrounded by shelters, supportive housing, and an overdose prevention site. Every day, he and his neighboring businesses, Simpson Autos, Camp River Woodworking, Pete & Sons Plumbing, and the Bottle Depot, clean up needles, garbage, and human excrement. Clients are afraid to get out of their cars. No one feels safe. When will this government stop enabling open drug use and trafficking and start supporting the small businesses that drive our economy?
Minister of Housing.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. First off, Honourable Speaker, I have to correct the member. Nobody's encouraging open drug trafficking. The member's false information here. I think the member should retract that comment, Honourable Speaker. The member should retract that comment. But, Honourable Speaker, I'm not sure where the opposition is. I'm not sure where the BC Conservatives are. Sometimes I hear from them that we need more housing for vulnerable people. Then a next question period, we hear from them about how we shouldn't have it. Sometimes we hear we need more resources. Sometimes they say it's too many resources in one area, Honourable Speaker. They can't get their story right. Honourable Speaker, there are vulnerable people from the community that need support. I know they used to have an MLA that was a champion for not only the community, but making sure that all voices were heard. Perhaps that's not there now. Perhaps this member cares very little on how vulnerable people are treated and where they go, Honourable Speaker. We're going to continue to support community. We're going to continue to work with local government. We're going to continue to work. We're going to continue to work to ensure that all people have the...
Members, enough. Minister.
Honourable Speaker, I hear from this House how many people are members of believe in faith, and but when it comes to the most vulnerable people, I don't hear that. I don't hear that back in the question, Honourable Speaker. We're going to continue to support vulnerable people, Honourable Speaker, in every community in this province. We're going to continue to make historic investments because we know these people deserve a roof over their heads.
Member for Kamloops Centre.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, back in the day when someone would roll into town and try to sell people a bill of goods on a product or an item and it was totally way overinflated, there was a certain expression used for that person. Apparently that's unparliamentary. I won't use it in this chamber, but it seems to be very fitting for this government today, Mr. Speaker, because that's exactly what we've been hearing. We're pointing out that business confidence is down. The government tries to pretend it's not. Food bank usage is at record highs. The government tries to pretend it's not. But hope for the future by all polling is down in BC. All youth groups are saying that. Youth unemployment is at record levels. It's not our problem because it's down in other places too. Well, youth in British Columbia want it addressed in British Columbia. They're not worried about other jurisdictions. Corporate tax revenues are down, but not to hear it from this government, even though it's in their own budget document. They'll try to dodge and deny that. And then only this government could stand up and praise and crow about what they are building in infrastructure when every single project that was listed by the minister is behind schedule and over budget. That's the crowning glory for this government. Behind schedule, over budget. The economic agenda is completely broken. It's a complete failure. This government has lost the plot line completely. Yes, you know what, Mr. Speaker? We would love to have an election. You know why we would love to have an election? Because then they could be on this side of the House and we'd be on that side of the House. When will the Premier put his money where his mouth is stop being a fly-by-night salesperson blowing into town and just call the election already instead of having all these games around Bill 15 and 14.
Members, now the question has been asked. I really urge all members to be quiet now and listen to the answer. Government House Leader.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Well, I'm going to start off by saying this. Honourable Member, in your dreams. Because, Honourable Speaker, 4 years from now, when we do go to the polls, we'll be going to a polls as a government that has been focused on what matters to British Columbians. What matters to British Columbians, ensuring that young people get the training that they need, which is why we invest in the infrastructure projects that we do, Honourable Speaker, to ensure...
Member for South.
You know, if
Come
you
to
ask
order.
the young pile driver that's been busy pounding piles on the Steveston interchange, Honourable Speaker, the apprenticeship that's getting them a skill that's going to give them a career for the rest of their lives, Honourable Speaker, it's going really well, Honourable Speaker. When you're talking about the young ironworker apprentice that's working on the Patella Bridge, Honourable Speaker, that's learning the skills, that's going to give a career for a lifetime, Honourable Speaker, they're doing really well, Honourable Speaker. When you're talking about the electrician that's building the new hospital in Vancouver, Honourable Speaker, the hospital in Fort St. James, the hospital in Terrace, the hospitals right across the province, Honourable Speaker, they're doing really well, Honourable Speaker. Because I'll tell you something else, Honourable Speaker. When the Leader of the Opposition sat on this side of the House, they stripped the apprenticeship training, Honourable Speaker. They didn't care about youth, Honourable Speaker. They cut funding for adult education so that people could get the skills that they need, Honourable Speaker. We will go to an election on an agenda that's focused on investment and the people of this province, Honourable Speaker, which will ensure that we will on this side of the House and they will continue to dream from that side of the House.
The bell ends the question period. Member for Chilliwack North.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I rise on a point of order.
Proceed.
It is entirely out of order for the member, the Minister of Housing, to suggest that I, as the MLA of Chilliwack North, do not care about my constituents. I ask that he retract.
Thank you, Member. As part of, during the debate, those questions were made, and so we will continue to review our policies and instruct all members to be careful when they use their words in questioning and also in answering. Thank you. Member, thank you. Honourable members, I have the honour of tabling three following reports. Chief Electoral Officer of the report, October 19, 2024, Provincial General Election, Volume 1, Administration. 2, Human Rights Commissioner's report, Where We Stand, Recommendations Monitoring Report 2017 to 2024. Third one, Office of the Merit Commissioner 2024-2025 Annual Report. Madam Clerk.
Orders of the day.
Government House Leader.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. In this chamber, I call continued debate for the estimates of the Minister of Finance. In the Douglas Fir Room, I call continued debate on committee stage on Bill 15, and in the Tiny House Birch Room, I call continued committee stage debate on Bill 14.
Committee chairs.